Just the people under the stairs. That could be a sitcom. Like that title could be a sitcom, right?
Yes,
I
we love it.
guess.
A multicam
Yeah,
sitcom.
like
Yes.
starring Fool and Roach and Alice, like
Right.
and the people under the stairs.
And all of them are just like giving a thumbs up.
Yeah, like
and smiling.
Totally.
Hello. Do you want to play a game?
What's your favorite scary movie?
Be afraid. Be very afraid.
See dead people.
You're gonna need a bigger boat.
Here's Johnny.
The power of Christ compels you! The power of Christ compels you!
Whatever you do, don't fall asleep.
Welcome to Talking Horror with Jamie and Nikisha.
Hi, I'm Jamie.
And I'm Nikisha, and this is Talking Horror with Jamie
And Nikisha.
where we share our love for all things scary and talk horror through the lens of human behavior. Welcome, everyone. Yeah, I don't know why it felt very sing-songy. That was the vibe. So
It's just the people under the stairs. That could be a sitcom. Like that title could be a sitcom, right?
yes,
I
we love it.
guess.
A multicam sitcom.
like
Yes.
starring Fool and Roach and Alice, like and the people under the stairs.
And all of them are just like giving a thumbs up.
Yeah, like
and smiling.
totally. Like looking up from a body they're eating, or like like with the flashlight turning around, being like, like that's it.
I love that. Well, Brian has already given it away, but I do want to say happy Black History Month to all. Y'all better be celebrating it. And because of that, of course, we're celebrating it. And today we are talking about the 1991 comedy horror film, The People Under the Stairs.
Thanks. He doesn't talk much, does he? His tongue's cut out. Well, Mommy caught him trying to call for help one day, and Daddy had to teach him, speak no evil, right? Your father's one sick mother, you know that? Actually, your mother's one sick mother, too.
Oh no, they're under the stairs.
Which is also why I have my backwards cap on, because it's not set in the 90s. So I thought that would be appropriate.
Yeah, appropriate.
Right.
Yes. For those who are watching us on the YouTubes. So this movie was written and directed by Wes Craven, and it stars Brandon Adams, Everett McGill, Wendy Robbie, AJ Langer, and Ving Rhames.
A very young Ving Rhames.
Mm-hmm.
I know. And it always makes me think of a Bob's Burgers joke, if you know, you know, when I hear Ving Rhames. So heavy spoilers if you have not seen The People Under the Stairs. Where have you been at for 34 years? Get your life together. Watch it, then come back and listen to us.
Had you seen this before, Nikisha?
Right. I got my life together, and this is my first time.
Okay.
I was like, interesting.
So when I was little, this thing was on like TBS or TNT,
which is wild.
I mean, it'd be cut for obvious reasons, certain things. It wasn't like dinner and a movie. Like, I don't know. Like maybe I'm misremembering. Maybe it was just on like HBO or something like that. But like for some reason, I remember watching it. Like, remember those dinner and a movie like things that they would do on like TNT and TBS? They'd like in commercial breaks, they'd like make things like they'd give you recipes to like go with the movie.
Cute.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. No, I did not know that. And I don't remember this in my channel surfing. Like, no images of this were familiar to me.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, or coming back to the only thing is, of course, y'all know I love a listicle, and so this would come up in many YouTube listicle that I would watch. But this was definitely not a movie that I saw when I was younger, which is fascinating to me. That I also missed that. So don't be like me. Hopefully, you've already seen this. And Jamie is going to hit us with those trigger warnings.
Oh boy. Racism, child abuse, physical abuse, like abuse to an animal death, cannibalism. Yeah, lots of gun use, kidnapping, child death.
White people saying the N-word.
Yeah.
There.
Yeah. Gentrification, references to cancer, burglary, I guess, child welfare, real estate nonsense,
drug use.
Mm-hmm.
There's like somebody shooting up in the hallway at one point. Anything else?
And people under the stairs.
People under the stairs. Oh, I guess they reference like inbreathing.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Like incest.
Inbreeding. Yeah. But not like Harry Potter. People under the stairs. Like bad people under the stairs.
Right. Goodness gracious. This movie has a lot. So if it's not for you, it's okay.
Understandable.
Understandably so. There are other things to watch. Yes. So before we get into it, producer Brian is going to offer up a couple of words.
Hi everybody. Hi YouTube. Happy Black History Month. And if you we're only doing 2 Black History Month movies this year. However, we don't just celebrate in February. We have an entire catalog of Black horror movies, whether they are specifically like around Black characters or whether they're just trying to say something interesting and profound. So you can check all of our episodes for a lot of that. Like we've done all of the Jordan Peele movies. Last year we did like Sweetheart. We've done Vampire in Brooklyn.
The Blackening.
The Blackening. Oh my god, that movie that we did that for Juneteenth, and that fucking movie rocks.
Yes.
Cool. Yeah. So check out all those episodes. Definitely worth your time. And if you haven't seen these movies, like definitely get them under your belt. It's a part of the fabric of horror movies. But if you want to follow us in other places, check us out on TikTok and Instagram at Talk Horror Pod. We have some really fun stuff coming up, especially because we are going to South by Southwest. We're going to be reviewing the movies from South by Southwest, so we're going to be doing that. We'll do an episode on it, but but most importantly, we're definitely going to be doing everything on TikTok and Instagram. So check that out there. We're going to be seeing some of the big movies for this year, like Obsession, like Ready or Not 2, and then a lot of smaller movies that I'm like really excited for. So definitely check us out there. And thanks for joining us. We always appreciate it. We really, really do. Just like the people under the stairs say, go.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, totally. That's all I got.
Fantastic. I also just want to point out, because I don't think we mentioned this on the podcast, but it's worth saying, and because it's Black History Month, that we also did an episode on Sinners, of course, and now that's one of the most nominated Oscar movies of all time.
Yes.
So that's very exciting, and I'm excited. I hope
that movie's good.
I know it's just incredible, and I hope that well, you know what, even if it doesn't win, I'm glad that it at least is like culturally accepted as it is, for how great it is, and that it's nominated for that many awards.
So I'm going to put this out there. I think it has a 100. So it has a 100% chance of winning screenplay. It's going to win screenplay. That way they can give Ryan Coogler his Oscar, and that covers like their basis, if you will. I don't think he has a chance to win Best Director. However, I do think that they have a shot at Best Picture. I really think they have a shot at Best Picture.
Yeah.
I think Delroy Lindo has a shot if they split the vote for One Battle After Another. I think Stellan Skarsgård's going to probably win that, but there's a world that they actually win. In a crazy upset, I think that Michael B. Jordan could win. I think that'd have to be a crazy upset though, because I think Chalamet's going to win. I really do.
Same.
And and what I actually think would be, so it's going to win best score. Also, Ludwig is going to win again. But
Yes.
The reason I'm saying all of this is the thing I want it to win is I really wanted to win cinematography because it would be the first time a woman ever won for cinematography, and it would also be a POC woman winning that. And the one that would be amazing, but two, that fucking movie is shot brilliantly.
Brilliant.
So
Yes.
like that would be that's what I actually I want. I want Coogler to get his Oscar, and I want her to win. That's what I actually want. Anyway, that's been my little Oscar corner. I used to bet on the Oscars, and I used to make a lot of money. Only 1 year I went 24 for 24, and I retired. So I don't bet on it anymore because I got 100% right. I forget what year it was.
How do you forget the year?
It was the Shape of Water year that I got everything right.
Okay. Yeah.
Anyway,
the fish fucker year.
The fish fucker
Fish
year.
fucker year.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, we could do that on here, the fish fucking movie.
Yeah. I'm surprised, that we haven't.
The shape of my webbed fingers. Yep.
Jim was like, don't even try.
Yeah, sorry.
Love it. Well, have you guys, since we're knee deep in just movie talk, have you watched anything else this week?
We have. I don't remember what we talked about on the last episode, like in terms of what we watched, but if I guess sometimes we consider disaster movies to be horror movies. This one's probably not a horror movie, but we watched the severely underrated disaster movie starring Sylvester Stallone called Daylight.
Oh my God, I forgot. Oh my God.
Okay, you did not talk
Daylight
about this.
Is a film where people basically there's a car accident in the Holland Tunnel and it collapses, and Sylvester Stallone has to go in and save people from the Holland Tunnel.
Jesus.
And that's in itself, that is a fucking nightmare.
Yes.
With a young Viggo Mortensen is in it, Amy Brennan is in it. It's a good time. It's a lot more emotionally devastating and intense than I remembered it being, but I fucking love it. I
good time is in fucking quotes because this guy's like, oh, it's gonna be another silly action movie like all the other ones we've watched.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, I'm like, everyone, spoilers, so many people are dying in deeply traumatic ways. I'm like crying at the end of this movie.
Oh, wow.
I needed Brian to tell me whether there's a dog in the movie. And I was like, I need you to tell me right now if this dog dies. Like, I need you to tell me. And he was like, no, he's not dead. But like, the dog didn't show up for a significant period of time. And I was like, this fucker's lying to me. The dog doesn't die, but like, there's just a lot going on in this movie, and I just wanted a dumb romp where I could like turn my brain off. That is not what I got.
No, that was a mistake. But we watched it, and it was scary.
Okay, I have to put that on my Daylight.
Daylight.
Yeah.
Horror wise, we watched. I watched 3 other movies. One of them was with Jamie. I watched one of what might be the worst horror movie of the year. Jamie and I watched the Mortuary Assistant.
Oh, it's not good.
It's very not good.
So bad.
Oh man. Okay.
It's based on the video game, The Mortuary Assistant, and it sucks. The video game's great. Yeah. I've watched Jamie play it, and I've watched like playthroughs of certain scenes. The video game is fucking incredible and genuinely scary. Jamie, you want to talk about the video game a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, it's really fun. You play as the titular mortuary assistant, and you basically like have a list of tasks you need to do in order to like move forward. So like you kind of get some element of that in the movie of like, okay, you have to do this to the body and like check it for markings and blah, blah, blah. And then like in the periphery, you can sometimes see like a ghost, or like the bodies will move, or like you'll have to like go down the hallway and then like the light turns off, like random stuff like that.
It's fucking scary.
And it's I've screamed out loud playing that game. It's really scary. This, however, was not. This was dumb. And like even knowing very generally what the plot is supposed to be from the video
Mhm.
game, it just like it really didn't make any sense. Like there was barely a plot to this movie. And also like the lead male was so bad. Like
Awful.
he delivered his lines like so stiff and weird. It was just like very weird to listen to him talk or do anything.
That's
Yeah.
unfortunate.
It really is. It was brutal. The only reason to watch this movie is that Willa Holland is turning in a very good performance.
Mhm.
Okay.
But I couldn't even fucking tell you what like this movie was about, like lore wise and all of that. Like,
No.
just a deep, deep disappointment.
Yeah.
On the flip side of things, I think I saw one of my hidden gems of the year.
Okay.
I saw a movie called Diabolic. Diabolic is about a woman who escapes a fundamentalist, like Latter-day Saints Mormonism sect, and she starts having blackouts, and her therapist and suggests basically like doing immersion therapy in order to kind of like fill in those gaps of what happened to her in order to like try and help her. And things go fucking very wrong. This movie is really good, actually.
Okay.
It is eerie. It's really well shot. The acting is very good. It's kind of unpredictable in a good way, not like in a what the fuck is happening. Like it just keeps introducing new and interesting things that have me leaning forward in my seat. I just really liked this one. I think I liked this better. Like last year, I think my favorite like hidden gem was It Feeds, which we covered on the podcast. I liked this better than It Feeds, I think.
Okay.
But I totally dug it. So Diabolic is totally worth it. I think it has a limited release right now, and then it's going to be streaming in like 2 weeks or something like that.
Well, we should do that for the podcast.
Yeah, Diabolic was really good.
Yeah.
I liked it a lot. And then I watched Cold Storage with Joe
the
Keery.
new Joe Keery movie.
Yeah, and Georgina Campbell and Liam Neeson. It's fine. It's not bad. It's not bad,
Okay.
but it's not like great. It just takes a while to like get going. They're not as charming as I would like them to be in some ways. Some of the gore in it is fucking incredible. It's really funny too in places. So like I would suggest it. To me, that's like a rent at home and you'll be totally fine type of thing. But it's a really good time. Yeah, those are the big ones that I watched.
Nice. Well, yeah, I'm very curious about Diabolic now, especially because it feels like it's going to cater to our mental health, human behavior.
Oh, it does.
Aspects,
it very much does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cute. Okay. Great. Well, let's get into the people under the stairs. They've been waiting. We're here for you. I don't know.
They're lingering under there.
They're lingering. So producer Brian is going to give us a plot summary.
What's the plot?
I'll fucking try.
Yeah, of this. It's going to be great. A 2-minute plot summary, and Jamie is going to time him.
I sure am. I wonder if I can time you from my iPad. Oh, I can.
Whoa,
Look
iPad
at that.
All right. Are you ready to spend some more time with the people under the stairs?
They're my cousins.
All right, ready, steady, go.
Okay, so we're in a ghetto area of Los Angeles. These people are getting evicted. Fool is the younger son. His mother has cancer. His sister's boyfriend is like, "Yo, bro, let's fucking. I just robbed I robbed a liquor store, so now let's rob the landlords who own that liquor store because I found basically a treasure map that they have like gold coins in it. They're super rich." He's like, "No, I'm not gonna do it. Like, this is Fool was played by the kid from Mighty Ducks and The Sandlot." And so they decide to he does it. They send the first guy in, he ends up getting killed. And then they go in and they're trying to figure out shit. It turns out this house is a fucking like maze and there are people under the stairs. It turns out that the owners, who they thought were married, are actually brother and sister, even they call each other mommy and daddy. They've been kidnapping people for years. And then when it doesn't work out for them, meaning like they like try to get help or yell and don't follow them, they basically lock them under the stairs. They have a daughter right now. Her name is Alice. She's the only one that's like actually been like following the rules, the see no evil, hear no evil, speak no evil. And then they're torturing her. I don't really know why they're doing all of this. But anyway, so Fool meets this guy named Roach, who is one of the people that escaped from under the stairs, and he helps him to kind of escape and survive. Everyone basically dies except for Fool, Alice, and Roach dies. Is fucking sad as shit. And the mother and father are basically like shooting up the walls. He wears bondage at one point, I guess, because like why not? And in the end, Fool ends up finding all the money in the house. They get rid of the two. They kill the two people, and then he is able to give the money to the entire neighborhood, kind of like spreading that wealth out. And that's the end of this fucking weird ass movie.
And that's the plot.
Great.
Oh boy.
We'll get into the nitty gritty because I'm
Whatever
sure we
just
all have
happened
the
to us.
same. Yeah, I'm sure we all have the same questions. But first, let us get into our first segment, Trick or a Treat, where we let you know, was this a treat? We loved it, or we don't know how we feel about it, pretty neutral about it, or trick. It's not our cup of tea.
Trick. Treat.
So, Jamie, trick or a treat? And is this your first time watching this?
This is my
Have to
first
say.
time watching this.
Okay.
Yeah, she got her life together.
Great.
And
okay.
watched this gem of a film.
Oh. I didn't think that this question would stump me as much as it is. I guess it's like an trick, but like they're like trick them.
Yeah. Okay. Trick 'em. I like that.
Mhm.
Yes. Brian, trick or a treat?
This is a trick or treat. No, that's the whole thing.
That's all of them.
Everything.
But so this is an the first half of this movie is treat. The second half of this movie, I would say, like post Roach dying, this is a trick. Hurry the fuck up.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
But it's
I'm
an
just gonna. But it's an
Yeah.
I'm gonna just go with a trick, but not. Oh my god, I hated this movie. It was just like, oh my god, this is not for me, and that's
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah.
That's
okay.
kind of where my
Yes.
Yeah.
feelings were.
Yes. Great.
Mhm.
So let's talk about it with likes and gripes. Fascinating.
And now our likes and gripes.
Jamie, how about you go first? Since
Sure.
you also are seeing this for the first time.
Yes, seeing this for the first time, definitely an area in my Wes Craven filmography that there was a hole there, and perhaps I should have left that hole
There.
unfilled.
I was yawning and laughed, and I really hurt my jaw.
This movie is just like completely unhinged. And I guess it's supposed to be like a comedy horror because everything is so exaggerated, but it's also like I found it really hard to follow because kind of like what Brian was saying, I like don't fully understand why these people are kidnapping children to like build this family.
Mm-hmm.
And then they're like, you're not it. And then they just dump them. But they also, Alice made a comment about how like they take parts of them. I don't really know. There weren't
the bad
that-
parts.
yeah,
of them
which
is
I was
what they
like, what do
said.
you mean? Like they didn't all the people under the stairs weren't all missing like limbs or like they weren't like
Exactly.
experimented on. Like Roach had his tongue cut out, but like that was seemingly the extent, and that seems like that was a consequence of like trying to call for help. So I don't really understand why any of this is happening. And
well,
that's,
and well, just to add to that, because I agree. And I don't know if y'all read this, but how Wes Craven even got the idea was from a news story in LA where someone was robbing the house but found children in the basement accidentally, and so then was able to get the police, and there was like children that were actually being like abused in this household. But going from there to then all the kooky stuff that's happening in this is
and then using
wild.
it as an allegory for like capitalism in America and
class.
gentrification
and
class is like a leap. Also just to point out, we're doing this for Black History Month because it stars a young black boy, and it really deals with gentrification, and you know it's a very honestly for 1991 like a big black cast that is the protagonist in this, and that is super rare, and Wes Craven did that without even blinking or thinking, and like I'm sure this, I didn't read too much up on it, I'm sure the studio pushed back on that, but like man held his ground, and he made whether you like this movie or not, tonally or not, it's really interesting about what he's trying to say in this movie and how he uses this plot and these characters to try and comment on it, because also if you notice, mommy and daddy are specifically made to look like Ronald Reagan and Nancy Reagan. In terms of like this gap between the middle class and the upper class, and like spreading the wealth out, which is the end of the movie, things like that. So I thought that's, I mean, I think I just wanted to say that as like why we've done this one for Black History Month.
And he lives too.
Like, and he lives.
The kid lives.
Yeah,
yes.
totally. That's, I mean, yeah. I mean, everyone else does. Him and his sister live for sure.
Right.
Yeah. What a time. Yes, no. Allegory, metaphors, deeper meanings. What is this movie trying to say? Sure. Fair. But it's still really bizarre and hard to follow. And there are also other things that just feel like they don't really have anything to do with that. Like, yes, at its core, it's, you know, this family that's like trying to cover the cost of both like their ability to stay where they live and, you know, prevent gentrification from taking over, and also just like race and class dynamics. But I feel like I'm like really, you know,
yes,
right? Like there's it that feels like it's on the periphery of everything that's happening in this movie, and then the movie is just like, why is this guy randomly wearing like a bondage outfit
to go
because like we
people.
never see him get into it, and then I was like, is that the guy, like is that the same guy or is that the third guy, because that was really confusing to me. And like what I'm still confused, and we just watched this movie, and I feel like I've retained very little of it, in like very little just in terms of trying to make sense of it. Not that I forgot it, but like I'm just really confused. And then I do like, you know, in terms of like fuck them kids, I will say that for a movie that came out in the early 90s, like this is pretty fucked up towards children, between like the child abuse and like child death and you know, like children cannibalizing other people. Like there's a lot of stuff that's like really fucked up towards kids, which I'm also kind of curious like what
the purpose,
what's going on there, because that feels less like, I mean that doesn't really have anything to do with like late stage capitalism or gentrification. So I'm just like, what, why?
Why
you know,
this?
I just like have a lot of I just have a lot of like, what, why, what, why,
Yes.
Sure.
what, like that's kind of what I found myself repeating in my head. I think out loud I just kind of was more like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
So yeah, I don't really know. I don't think this movie was for me. And I get the bits and pieces of like, again, the bigger picture allegory, but it just this doesn't land for me. I feel like there's so many other movies that do a much better job at weaving in like the social commentary that it's trying to say in a much more effective way. And less like abuse focused, like I think there's just something really again like distasteful and gross about how we are depicting like vulnerable or marginalized populations and like the types of things that we are seeing or like how they're being referenced. And I just don't care for that, regardless of the fact that this movie came out in 91. Like the fact that you're still casting like a young Black actor in this role, I feel like that's super intentional. But then again, like in the script, I feel like there's other ways, like with Mommy, there's other ways that she expresses her like racism without using the N-word, like so many times throughout this movie, right? Like especially when she's talking to like the police who come 1,000 times and can't do
and still
anything.
Don't find anything.
Yeah.
Which
so
is nuts.
Yeah. But yeah, there's a lot of times where she like makes these comments about like the neighborhood and like, you know, just like her racism and hatred towards Black people without having to use the N-word. So I'm always just like, why do we have to do that? Like, what's the intention behind that? Especially when there's other things that feel super intentional. Something that surprised me was I was not expecting this dog to be as present in the entire movie as he was.
It was.
Yeah,
he
this movie is starring this Rottweiler. Which also, like, I get so sad when, you know, dogs are being like bonked and bruised and ultimately killed. So that's upsetting. But yeah, I don't really know what else to say.
It is okay.
I mean, I think like, you know, I'm glad that they but like that Fool's character, which I can't believe his name is Fool. I also can't believe his name is Poindexter. Like
that part. That part.
But like
I'm
glad, like, I guess something, there's like a small child trope that I like of like children who are taking care of other children that like saving each other and like being there for one another, that I really like in a world where, you know, the adults are not to be trusted, or like the adults aren't paying attention, or they don't care. I do love that like camaraderie that you see like with kids and other kids. And so like him going back to save Alice and like not just leaving her. Also, when he gets back to her and she's fucking tied up. Like this movie.
Oh,
is,
yeah.
Oh my God.
But he's in the chimney and like moving bricks.
Like,
yes.
Yeah.
Like what?
Yes.
Yeah. This movie is wild. And when we were watching it, there was a part of me that's like, I don't know how I feel about this movie being centered during Black History Month. It's like segments. And I was like kind of internally processing that. And again, like, I think that there's something really meaningful about having like a Black lead in this particular movie. But man, we could have done so much more. Wes Craven, rest in peace. But like,
but what?
What?
Sir, what?
Are we doing? Excuse me.
And that's exactly how I feel. As I was watching this, I'm sorry. You
no,
finish,
no, please. No. That's really all my thoughts. I kind of was just like, what? Wait, what?
Mm-hmm.
Huh?
Yeah, but just to piggyback off of the Wes Craven thing, because as I was watching this movie, I was thinking back at the blaxploitation movies, you know,
Mhm.
of that time of in the 80s and 70s, 80s and 90s. And you know what they represented, kind of like feeding into the stereotype, but for a purpose to like make a statement, you know, about Black people and how Hollywood sees them, right? And I think this movie, coming from a white man with such crazy stereotypical things involving Black people, was something that just kind of rubbed me a little bit the wrong way, and I'm still just
Sure.
trying to sit with that. But
Mhm.
just in Leroy's character, the older Black man, well, Ving Rhames, his character, I hated it. And it was
Yeah.
just so like, I'm a big Black man and I do all this stuff, and I you know, like nothing scares me, and all this stuff, and I'm gonna, you know. And it was just very much like, hold on, what are we trying to say with this person?
Yeah, when he's
And
being
Yeah.
abusive to the sister at the beginning, I was like, oh
Yeah.
no.
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
And you're talking about like, oh well, you know, the only way that we can kind of come up as Black people is like selling drugs and doing all this stuff, and like this is just what this little boy has to learn how to do. And I'm just like,
Right.
no,
But he wants to be a doctor. Yeah, no.
Exactly.
You gotta rob this house.
right. And
Yeah.
and then
His
how
whole
he was
vibe,
hated it.
I'm not a fan.
not a fan at all.
Mhm.
But the only redeeming quality, like we said, was the kid, because
Yeah.
he is, and we talk about decision making, especially with like the final person in a movie, and he is, for a kid, making really great decisions and choices,
Yeah.
trying to help these people. Especially there was a moment where he was able to escape, called the police, but
Mhm.
that was a distraction so that he could get into the house
Yeah, that was
and
cool.
help. And I'm like, yes, okay, thank you for like following through with his intelligence
Yeah.
throughout this movie.
Mhm.
But again, the whys of it all, I think, outweigh you know, the
Huh?
good decision making of
What?
of the kid.
What?
And I also agree, Brian mentioned this in his plot summary, but damn, Roach died way too soon in the movie. I needed him
Ugh.
for another 30 minutes
Well,
at least.
That's when the
Yes.
movie loses its steam for me. Like,
Yeah.
Roach is the interesting character, and to be totally honest, the only two things I tell us when I was very young, the only two things I remembered about this movie were Roach showing his cut off tongue, and that like the house had all these like fun like traps, and like you can walk through the door, like the walls, and like I remember like that maze, that like fun house like aspect of things, and then obviously Roach. I did not remember that Roach died, and I also did not. I agree with you, Nikisha. He died way too early for this.
Yeah. I was wanting him to help and like all them escape, you know, like that was what I was waiting for. So I was sad that was happening. Speaking of the maze though, of the house, that whole chimney situation.
Chimney.
Right. Y'all know where my brain was. It was so confusing to me, because when him and Alice are falling down it but fighting with the mom, and then like fall down some more, and I'm like, how does a two-story
Yes.
fire, you know, place work? That was really like in my brain, like adding to the things of confusing. What is
Yes.
going on here?
I also like didn't need like a full breakdown of the layout of this house. I kind of was like, yeah, whatever.
True.
Who
Yes.
Yeah, I
knows
was
where
like-
anybody
Yeah,
is,
yeah.
and like whatever.
Yeah. Well, because it doesn't add anything to anything, you know.
Yeah, no.
But that's all that I have to say about it too. It I don't know. It just wasn't for me, and that's okay. But I'm happy that this little boy lived. Also, another thing that was just kind of confusing at the end was it seems like there was a really big explosion at the end, but he was okay, the little boy, and the money was okay, and it's just like flying out of the house. And I'm like, okay,
Yeah,
you
whatever.
know, fine. It's, you know, everything else has been kooky in this. Great. But yeah, I'm looking through my notes again. That is really all I have to say about this. Brian?
I agree with both of you as well. Um, I think the first half of this movie is at least interesting, and it moves, it clips along. It's also buck wild, and the tone changes a lot in the first half. So I was like, okay, like I'm on this roller coaster ride. That's fine. Because I trust Wes Craven to balance the humor and the horror, which I don't think is done well in this movie.
Mm-hmm.
But I was in it for the first half because you get also the quotes in this movie are buck wild. Like the
Yes.
things that people say, like nice to see the rich folks got rats too. Um, what is it? You thought he was white before, you should see that sucker now. And then they say like
Yeah.
a lot of fucking there's a lot of like crazy fucking shit in this movie. Anyway, like when he's sticking his head in the vent and like he thinks he's dead and he just was like, I was just listening. I was like, what the fuck are you like? What are we doing here? So there's
Ugh.
all of that silliness. Um, again, I like the allegory aspect of things. I love Roach. Again,
Mhm.
once Roach dies, the second half of this movie feels like a 4-hour movie. The second half of this movie feels so long. It's exhausting and tedious, like going back and coming back and doing this. It's like, I don't know. It just feels like this movie could have all this could have been solved very easily, very quickly. Um, uh, but something I kind of like about this movie and don't like about this movie, and it feels very early 90s, is like there's no twists in this movie, meaning like we see the people under the stairs very early in this movie. Mommy and daddy are talking about them and literally say the people under the stairs. We see that hand like and things moving like very early in this movie. So there's no like suspense in terms of like revealing all the things that are happening now. The only like twist in this movie is that they're like actually brother and sister and incestual, like, but like that's
Mhm.
not, who cares? I mean, it's gross, but
Yeah.
like who, like in terms of a plot point, like who cares? Like we already know that they're fucked up. Like you didn't need to like that's not
Add
a twist
on.
to me.
Yeah.
Like the only thing that shows is that like Alice is not their actual daughter, which we probably could have guessed anyway, just from what's happening. So I think that's interesting that they're just kind of like, I'm going to tell the story straightforward. I'm not going to like have any like crazy twists or surprises. Like this is just what it is. There, everything was a matter of fact. There are people under the stairs. These landlords are awful people. But there was definitely a sense. If you're not going to have that sense of mystery in the movie, then I feel like we've all talked about like a lot of the whys aren't there. Um, which in some ways is fine because like I guess that makes it scarier, or I guess it's really just serving the allegory that these are like the rich people who are just trying to get richer and ruin the communities and things like
Mhm.
that. And they want control over everything, and they try and control anything that they can, but like from a from a narrative standpoint, the second half of this movie is just like Sleepy Town. Um, uh, and then yeah, oh, this movie just like it didn't this movie, even though there was a bit of nostalgia for me with this movie, it did this none of that nostalgia like won out
Yeah.
over like me recognizing that this like it just didn't click, Mr. Craven. Like
Yeah.
I even enjoy something more like Cursed than this, because at least Cursed like is consistent in its mismatched tone, if that makes sense.
Mhm.
This movie's like almost like a different person directed every like 10 minutes.
Yes.
you know um uh but there are like, I think that some of the practical effects in this are really good. I think that there are some scenes that are very fun, like of them in the house and running around, and I think some of the action sequences are actually well framed in this movie in terms of like knowing where everything was, like the fight when he with the dog in the wall and stuff like that.
Yeah.
um but yeah, that's really all I have to say about this one. I'm really happy I rewatched this as an adult,
Mhm.
um so I can actually understand what it was about. But I also understand why I kind of liked it as a kid. I get that. Like it's not scary. There are some very striking images. The effects and the makeup are interesting. um and it stars a kid. like black or white or it doesn't matter. Like it starts a young person, and a young, little people, like young people, little kids are drawn to things with other little kids in them.
Yeah.
And I think that's a little bit of that too. So that's kind of where I just stand on this movie overall. It's fine.
Yeah, and just speaking to the house fun of it all, the traps were fun. Have the stair moment where the stairs turn into a slide every time. Like, that was fun. But I will say too, Brian, you're talking about giving away all the people under the stairs. My initial assumption about this movie before I watched it was that the people were going to be a surprise in this, that nobody knew that anyone was living underneath the stairs in the house.
Sure.
So it was very interesting to have all that up front, like you had mentioned, because it does then turn very quickly into a different movie.
Sure.
With all that. But great. Any last thoughts before we move on?
No.
Nah. Okay, great. Let's move into our next segment. Brains.
Tasty.
Tasty? Question mark. Right. So the whole Robin Hood of this, steal from the rich, give to the poor vibe had me just thinking about like moral gray areas, because one would say stealing regardless is wrong, even if it's to help other people. So my question to you is, how would you counsel someone if they're dealing with moral gray areas of this nature, with even maybe within this context in the movie? Like, how would you guide that person? I know this is more like philosophical than mental, but
Yeah, it's funny. Well, one thing as an aside, it's funny because I really struggle like internally with moral gray areas, like as a person and with people. But recognizing that like the world is more gray and less black and white. I think like exploring alternate explanations for certain things to like kind of noodle whether or not it is as like firmly good or bad or right or wrong, because I think like it's easy to just be like, well, it's this way, so like that's just the way that it is, but like is that actually 100% true all of the time? I think also like we struggle with holding multiple like feelings at the same time, and we'll often be like, I can only feel this way about this thing. Like a common one that I hear is like this isn't necessarily right versus wrong, but just an example of this is like people who might not like their job, but they feel like they can't say that, and because they're like, oh well, I have a job, so like, but it's like you're allowed to like be glad that you are employed and also hate your job. Both of those things can coexist. And so I think once you start to like make space for these like seemingly opposing things, it allows for more gray to exist. But the reason why I gave that aside is like about myself is I think sometimes there can be some really like stuck thinking patterns for people, like with OCD in particular. Like a lot of my OCD is like moral. And so there does feel internally like there is like a right and a wrong, or like a good versus bad, even though I also don't necessarily apply that to like other people. So it's like there is a part of my brain that can acknowledge the gray unless it comes to myself, which is super awesome and healthy.
Fascinating. Yeah.
So, but yeah, I think like there are ways to start to like kind of like figure out how there can be multiple explanations for things, or that like multiple things can be true at the same time. And therefore like, it's not necessarily right versus wrong. Maybe there's some other like things at play that could also explain or like be compelling enough that it's not just one or the other.
Yeah.
I feel like it's also like a very like loose, vague kind of answer, but like, again, maybe the answer is gray because like there isn't a right versus wrong answer.
Exactly. And I love the example that you did give about holding, or the statement that you gave about holding multiple feelings, and the example of that, because I agree. It definitely feels like it's hard for people to hold multiple emotions at once. And I liken that to like being in the musical theater industry, and, you know, people can say, oh my God, like I am tired. I you know, might not particularly like my job, but are grateful to have a job. And it's definitely a thing if they don't want to say or complain about their job at all, because there are people who are trying to get their Broadway debut or whatever the case may be, you know. So just saying that definitely resonates, because, and it's helpful to hear that you can feel multiple feelings at once. It doesn't have to be like, this is how I feel about this, and that's it. You know,
and that's it. Yes,
and that's it. And thank you for being vulnerable and sharing that you also deal with more gray area issues as well.
For sure, I do.
People have to hear that. And then my last question has to deal with the Alice, the daughter, and her empathy, because when she first meets Fool, it's, you know, she's curious about him, but she's not like afraid of him. And it was very interesting to me, especially because her parents in quotes, mommy and daddy, were very verbal about how they feel about Black people, how they feel about the outside world, how she should act, yet she was still very much willing to help Fool. So my question is, how do you think that Alice, or just people in general, are finding this empathy in the midst of especially like physical abuse, because they're not surrounded by it or seeing it within their own households?
Yeah. I mean, obviously there's a lot of information that like we don't get from everything that's happening in this movie. But I think that her understanding of like other people who have gone through abuse in her home, like she's still like observing like, you know, some pretty fucked up shit that's happening in the house. And I think that she can like see that, you know, people are being hurt, or, you know, that like the things that are happening to her and other people like don't make them feel good and like scare them and things like that. So like, I think that there can be some like inherent empathy from that, of just like, oh, why is this happening to this other person? It's also interesting because like she's internalizing the message of like, see no evil, hear no evil, speak no evil, but she's not, it's still from like a fear-based approach and not from like a judgment-based approach. Because when I think like Fool says something and she's like, oh, like you spoke evil or something like that, like she's not doing it from a place of like, you know, you did something, like you're wrong, or like her judging him. She's doing it out of fear, of like, oh, I don't want something like bad to happen to you. So I feel like, you know, there's something there that like is compelling for her. I also think that, you know, people who like, in terms of people who empathize, I feel like you get like a mix of people who are able to just like put themselves in other people's shoes. Like, you know, it just comes more naturally. Like it's this soft skill that people have. I think for other people, it's still a soft skill, but I think sometimes people struggle with empathy unless they themselves have like been affected by a similar situation. And so like, there's also the potential of like Alice having experienced and seen other people in her home go through something similar, that's like where that empathy is generated from, because like she's being abused. She's also witnessed these other children being abused. And so like she, you know, she gets what they are experiencing, and as a result, like feels badly.
Yeah. And that's so fascinating to me too. But I think that you said the point of she's also seeing other people that are, you know, aren't doing anything, being treated poorly and abused. Because I just remember our conversations with the movie Send Help, and how the boss was talking about like his mother was physically abusive, and like that's why he is the way that he is. And so that's also why I wanted to ask about this situation. But it also makes sense because she's also observing what's happening to other people within her household, and it's not just her.
Yeah. And also like there's not, again, to go back to right versus wrong, or like that there is gray, that, you know, yes, we talk a lot about nature versus nurture and like all of these different influences on like how people are to be. But again, using Send Help as an example, like just because he was abused by his mother as a kid, like doesn't necessarily mean that everybody who's in that situation turns out the same way, right? Like that there isn't one particular like archetype of experience that lends itself to like, you know, the outcomes of like identity and our character. So despite, you know, the experiences that Alice has had, you know, she still is, her identity is one of like empathy towards others and also like wanting to not upset these weirdos that she lives with.
Right. Absolutely. Great. Well, that's all I have for this. Should we Rotten Tomatin?
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
It's the Rotten Tomatoes game.
What do you think this has on Rotten Tomatoes?
47.
32. No, 26.
Okay. Interesting. This has a 67.
No, they're wrong.
Completely.
And a 61 popcorn meter. But the critics' consensus is held aloft by gonzo black comedy and socially conscious subtext. The People Under the Stairs marks a unique, though wildly uneven, change of pace for director Wes Craven. I mean, I don't think that's wrong, but I definitely, it's like you both said, it's a taste thing.
It's a taste thing for sure. What was the popcorn meter again?
61.
Oh. People. Right. Okay.
What do you think this has on Letterboxd? Again, 0 to 5 with decimal points. Nikisha, you want to go first?
Sure. 2.9.
Jamie?
2.7.
3.5.
What the fuck? There's absolutely no way. There's nostalgia freaks.
Yes, I was gonna say there's nostalgia.
Watch this movie now. Watch this weird ass movie now.
Yeah.
And tell me you're still averaging a 3.5. You little freaks.
Don't just be like, oh, I watched this when I was a kid. Let me just letterbox it.
You.
Watch it now.
Yeah. All right. I'm going to do the top 3 reviews, but I'm going to do them in reverse order because I think the third one's the best one.
Okay.
But also, I'm only going to read a little bit of the for top 2 comments that are most liked are so long that I'm just going to read the like opening lines of each one.
Mm-hmm.
So number 1, the most merciless evocation of Bush white supremacist necro-capitalism ever put to film. The People Under the Stairs is the crowning achievement of Wes Craven's personal struggle against the inbred, paranoid, racist America on lockdown and armed to the teeth. Okay. And number 2, this is one of the most tonally insane movies I've ever seen, lol. A heightened children's fairy tale rendition of capitalism, gentrification, and class racial tensions in LA, but also just a plain nasty little gothic horror with all of Craven's interests in American horrors painted over by middle class and suburbs literally punching their way to the surface. It goes on. But my favorite one is this. These landlords wouldn't last a minute in Zoran's New York City.
Yeah. That needs to be the number 1 comment.
That's the good one. And
that's
then
a great one.
Friend of the show, Brie Hearts Horror. Shout out to Wes Craven for making a black boy the protagonist of a horror film. Representation matters.
Yeah.
All right.
Do better.
Yeah. Should we do the 4 S's?
Yes.
All right.
Skull, Scare, Shakes, and Suggestions. The Talking Horrors 4 S's.
The four S's are skulls, scares, shakes, and suggestions. Skulls is how well this handles mental health and human behavior. Scares, how scary is it? And then shakes, is it going to stay with you? Is it one and done? Can you shake it off? Jamie, let's start with you.
Sure. These might be some of the lowest scores that I've ever given a film. For Skulls, I gave it 3. For Scares, I gave it a 1, mostly because it just has all these like disturbing themes in it, not because there was nothing scary per se. And Shakes, I gave it a 2.
Yeah.
Cool. Nikisha.
Skulls, I gave it a 2 because Full is smart, at least. Scares, I also gave it a 1. And Shakes, I gave it a 3 because the black boy survives. That's it. Because that's the only thing I will remember about this movie.
Sure. I gave this a 3 for Skulls. I gave it a 1 as well, but I gave it a 5 because I clearly, for Shakes, because I clearly remembered a lot of the images from this. So I'm just gonna put it there, maybe a 4.5. I
feel like you remembered and you didn't because you were like, I watched this on TV.
Yeah, that's true. That's also fair.
I was like, yeah, I don't think that they would have.
Yeah. I've never seen this scene where they use the N-word.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Anyway, yeah, cool.
I really liked the line, sometimes in is out.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my God. That was Alice, right? Talking to Fool.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Yep.
Okay, great.
All right. Yeah,
I hope that this movie.
Suggestions. I fucking forgot about that. Yeah, suggestions.
Yeah, I was like, wait, are we done?
Yeah.
No suggestions.
Suggestions.
Watch something else.
Right.
I'll start. I would say, if you want a better black horror movie about gentrification, watch Candyman.
Yep, that was mine.
Yep. If you want a better 1991 horror movie that feels like 1991, watch In the Mouth of Madness. That's the John Carpenter movie with Sam Neill, about a man going slowly mad because his book. It's actually wild, and it gets it's tonally crazy, but it's way better than this movie. So those are my 2 suggestions.
Great. Jamie, did you have any more suggestions?
I did. If you want another movie where a bunch of children are being kept in the basement, you should watch Weapons. Also, when they are released onto,
Gladys,
who is and then another movie about breaking into a house that then things get a little wacky is The Collector.
Yeah, that's great. Totally.
Yeah. Also, speaking of Gladys and Weapons, I do hope that she wins the Oscar.
That would be very cool.
Yes.
Yeah.
I that's who I want, obviously.
Right. But
I think Teyana Taylor.
Oh yeah.
I don't know.
Horror or black people? Oh, I don't know.
I know.
Oh, I do love Teyana Taylor.
Fuck, horror or black people. That's so fun. To quote you, I'm screaming.
Yeah. Happy Black History Month. Great. Well, yeah, Candyman was my suggestion too, because I was immediately thinking of a better horror movie about gentrification. It's Candyman.
Totally cool.
And also set in the 90s. Right? Yes. Okay.
Yeah, it's like 92, something like that.
Yeah. They probably saw this movie and was like, I can do it better. Let me write Candyman.
Yeah. What's his name? Well, yeah.
Right. Great. Well, that wraps up our episode of The People Under the Stairs. Again, happy Black History Month. We'll have another Black History Month movie that we will be doing. Very exciting things.
Yeah, I don't. We'll fucking see if you like that one too. That I don't really like that one, but it's
okay. But it's part of the,
we're doing Night of the Demons next week because that's one of the first movies to have like a black final guy. Spoiler alert. But
okay. Well, I'm very.
It's
gonna be
more
great.
entertaining than this one. We'll watch it. We're obviously it's next week, so we'll.
Well, great. You can follow us on the socials, Instagram and TikTok at Talk Horror Pod. And producer Brian, where can they listen to us?
You can listen to us wherever you get podcasts. So you can find us on YouTube. Hi, YouTube. You can, of course, find us on Spotify as well as Apple Podcasts. Rate and review us there. 5 stars, please.
And thank you. Yes, that was great. I don't even know how to end this episode.
Oh, easy. The people under the stairs. Previously on the people under the stairs. Yeah, like.
God.
All right.
Whatever happened to the people under the stairs?
Bye.
Thanks, guys. Bye.
Bye.